All right. So the first thing I want to say is I posted a little teaser when we first started chatting that you were coming on, and people were
Yeah.
super duper excited. And I think I might have said like, "Hey, who's got questions?" And I've now forgotten them because it's been a long time.
No, it has been a long time. It's been such a long time. My life has been all over the place the last couple of months. So thank you for your patience.
No, no. Listen, thank you, thank you. So you are in LA, yes?
I am. I'm in Los Angeles, like the beach area.
Um, so are we talking Santa Monica? Are we talking Venice?
Yeah, like the Santa Monica, Venice area.
Got it, got it, got it. I don't want you to
Yeah.
give away your address. I'm just trying to get a general idea.
There's people standing by with a pen and paper.
Right. I mean, listen, you could be at Hermosa Beach. I don't know.
It's true. I could be. I think generally when people talk about living at the beach in Los Angeles, it's anywhere between like Malibu and Newport for the most
Right.
part.
Malibu.
Yeah. Where are you?
So I'm in Atlanta, but I spent almost 10 years in LA, and my wife was there for like 18 or something.
Okay. Well, you
So,
guys are like new to Atlanta then?
well, I grew up here. And so then I came back. But LA has like a special place in my heart for that reason. I spent enough formative, let's say ages 8 to 38 or 25 to 35.
Those are formative years, like for sure. I mean,
Right.
those are definitely like the growing years.
Well, right. It's like,
Yeah.
right. Like you look at pictures back then and you think like, I thought I knew what I was doing and I had no clue.
I know. I have this thing that I say that if people didn't like me in my 20s, I was like, whatever. If people don't like me now, like I chose to be this person. So you don't like me now, there's not a lot I can do about it.
Right. So yeah, my wife and I both, my wife acted and I did stand up. And so we were both chasing that dragon. And,
Yeah.
And I have zero regrets. And I want to say I loved like almost every minute of it, like that part.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, hang on, here comes my son. What's up, dude? The kids are still home.
Yes. For like 2 more days, right?
Yeah. And then they go back. What's up, dude?
Hey, dude.
Do you want to say hello?
Hi.
So,
Do you have a good summer or Christmas?
did you have a good Hanukkah?
Yes.
Yeah. Or Hanukkah, excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, you did.
So
Awesome.
So what's great is that I'll probably like show him something you were on like after this, and he's gonna be like, "No way."
There's not a lot of kid appropriate things. Not a lot, but like
Battlestar isn't kid appropriate.
Not really. There's some adult content in there for sure, but I think The Flash is kid appropriate.
Wait a minute, who are you in The Flash?
I play Amunet on like crazy British.
Go get Jackson. Jackson watches The Flash.
He probably hates my character. I have like this over-the-top fake British accent. It's hysterical.
I
think it's hysterical.
Can you give us like a standard line that she would say?
Oh God, I don't really know. I have to be able to hear myself when I play.
Well, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
She talks like this, darling. She talks like this, and she talks about ruling the world.
Did you tell him what did you tell him? Jackson.
He's probably going to run in thinking that you're talking to like one of the main characters.
Okay, now he wants to see.
Hi.
So tell him what character you play on The Flash.
So I play Amunet, but normally she talks like this, and she talks about ruling the world, and she fights against Caitlin.
What season?
She talks like that. 4 through 6.
Are you caught up?
Season 4. She comes in, she's dressed in black. She's got a metal gauntlet.
We're gonna watch episodes later and he'll be like, "No way, go do it now." Watch, he'll probably go do it now. So anyway, River, get out of here, buddy. I did not mean to put you on the spot like that with my kids. It's just what happens when I move through school.
The accent to me, in all honesty, like came out of thin air. I didn't even know how to do a British accent. It's not a British accent. It's all over the place. And that's what's so fun about her. It's crazy.
So does the internet get mad at you though for that? Because they can be cruel.
Yeah, no, I've been doing this so long now that I think what people think of me doesn't bother me anymore. And I think that they're missing the point if they want it to be like Shakespeare in the Park with Judi Dench. Like, that's not what this accent is. This is very much like fake villain.
She's a villain, right?
She's a villain.
We all love a British evil person.
That was my point. Like, she's like Mary Poppins, like on crack.
but actually, interesting point. So, without revealing your age, I'm guessing you were doing this long before the Twitter age, right?
It's true. It's
I shouldn't
very
have said
true.
long. Before the Twitter age.
Long before.
And before, you know, sort of the immediate sort of, you know, people can be good and bad. But so, I mean, has that affected you at all? Do you, like, I guess before you could just read a review in Variety, and now there's like 25,000 things to read about yourself.
The biggest thing that's changed for me is that people used to always, like, it really bothers, it doesn't bother me anymore, but it, you know, it sort of gets my back up when people say, well, you asked for this, you know, you asked to lose your privacy. You knew this whole social media thing going into it. And I said, no, I started acting in 1994. You know, by the time I was on Battlestar, the internet was just starting to get created. Like, I didn't ask for this, you know. Right. I just thought I was going to be an actor. You know, I didn't think that you know, it was social media now is such a part of what we do that it's almost more atypical for someone to not be on social media. You know, whereas back in the day when I was first starting acting, like, you know, that anonymity and that sort of like privacy was part of what you wanted as an actor. You wanted to be able to lose yourself in this character. And so now it's trying to find that happy medium, like give people what they want, but still don't give them so much that they can't sort of like be completely enveloped by a performance. I guess it's hard.
So I am old enough to remember the first Battlestar, and I've never been just sci-fi guy, so I won't pretend to, but yeah. I definitely watched the original Battlestar. So I don't know if were you old enough to watch it when it first came out? I couldn't tell you what night it was on. I couldn't tell you what network, but I know that I watched it.
Yeah, no. So I was actually born in 1980. Okay. So, and the show was out in 1979. So I missed it by like a shuffle ball change, like just a tiny, tiny step.
Did you just say shuffle ball change?
I did.
You just used a dance reference that like 8 people got. What is the difference between the shuffle ball change and the kickball change?
The shuffle ball change is just one. It's a 3 count. Shuffle ball change.
And what's a kickball change?
I don't know.
Kickball change? I thought
I'm not even a dancer. The only reason I know shuffle ball change is because like when I first moved to Los Angeles when I was like 17, one of my best friends was like theatrically trained New York actor, and she said it all the time. And so now I just say I'm like a shuffle ball change away from it or something.
I love it. So I'm guessing like, so before you auditioned, I'm guessing you didn't do much, but were you asked to go back and watch it? Did they say it's better if you don't know, like you're playing what was previously a man's character?
So I didn't know any of that going in, you know, it never,
because he was like the cool character.
He was. And like, you know, I watched the A-Team growing up, so I knew who he was.
Right.
Like I didn't, I had no idea. And so that's sort of when the internet just started. And like, I just got like ripped apart on the internet because I was a woman. And it was really interesting. It was sort of like that first, you know, I'd been acting, I think at that point for like 10 years. And it was my first sort of like, oh God, people are mean. Like people can be really mean. And so I sort of had to get over it really quick.
But so you didn't go back and look?
I watched, I think like the first like 10 minutes of an episode. And that's how I actually found out that it was a man. Because I was sitting actually drinking wine with my friend, the shuffle ball change friend. And we were like, we must be really drunk because they're talking about Starbucks, but she's not there. Right. And we like rewound the tape because it was still tape, and we rewound it. And we were like, oh my God, it's a guy.
Right.
And that's sort of when it all like made sense.
Right.
And then I put it away. And then I didn't watch it again. I've never seen it since because I realized at that point that there was nothing that I could do to even pay homage to the character. It was a completely different character. As soon as they made her a woman, it was a completely different character. So I just said, you know what? They hired me for a reason. I'm just going to play her the way that I want to play her. So, yeah. was the last time I looked back.
Okay. Have you, I was going to say, have you run into him at a convention?
No, I
Do you do
haven't.
those? Do you do those?
I do a few of them a year. It's one of the really cool things that I actually love about being in the science fiction world is that I started in theater. So for me, you know, that instant gratification of knowing if people liked your performance doesn't exist anymore in this world. I mean, I guess it does a little bit with social media, but it doesn't exist anymore because you're not playing to a live audience, or at least I'm not. So going to conventions, number one, I think the sci-fi fans appreciate it. I think if you don't go to conventions and you're in the sci-fi world, they'll actually hold it against you. But I also, so it is a part of your job when you enter into that world, but I also love the interaction and the feedback with the fans. It's, I have a career largely because people continue to watch the things that I've been doing for the last, 20 plus years. So,
Right.
I I actually really enjoy them. So I probably do 3 to 5 a year, maybe closer to 3.
Do you get invited to like 30 a year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was growing up, so I live in Atlanta, so Dragon Con is here, right?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Right.
Dragon Con.
So I'm guessing you've been here.
I've done Dragon Con twice.
Okay. So we have one of the hugest ones, but once upon a time there was Dragon Con, Comic Con, and like E3, and that was it. And now it's literally probably every weekend, right?
Every weekend there's at least a dozen. So it's not even that there's one. Oh yeah. So it's not even that, like, I'll say to one of my girlfriends, it used to be during Battlestar when we first started, hey, are you going to a convention this weekend? Absolutely. And you guys would just show up at the same convention. Now it's like, oh, I'm going to a convention. Oh, where is yours? Mine's in Alabama. Where's yours? Mine's in Florida. Because they're everywhere. They're all over the world. There's conventions in Dubai. There's conventions in, where's the last one that was, there's in Iran, there's a convention in Iran. So there's conventions now in places where you would have never expected to go before.
Okay. So then how does one, specifically you, select now? Like obviously Dragon Con, but if you get an email for one you've never heard of, how does one decide which ones are legit or fun or seem interesting? Or
it's the same. It's word of mouth. Like you would never really go to a brand new one. You never want to be the person who like tries one out for the first time because you never really know what it's going to be like. So you go to ones with good track records for the most part, and then you also don't want to go to the same one twice.
Ever?
Not ever, but you want to give enough space in between that it's not the same fans every year.
Right. Well, I have to say I'd never been to Dragon Con, even though I grew up here and then have lived here for a while now. But I went a couple years ago, and I have to say that, try to think how I can phrase this most appropriately.
Yeah.
How about this? The word fan is short for fanatic, right?
Oh, 100%.
Fanatical, right?
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I'm someone that asks for selfies with people, which my wife is like horrified every time I do it. Okay, I'll tell you a funny story later. We saw Jeremy Irons at dinner. I tried to make a joke. It didn't work. It was horrible for her, more horrible for her than me. But anyhow, so I'm not above them, right? Like I said, if I see someone, I will probably go up and ask. Now, if they say no, I'm going to walk away and then resent them.
It's true.
But anyway, they can be intense, I guess. And so I don't know, is it ever uncomfortable for you? Is it difficult for you? You're a woman. So I'm just curious how you navigate that world.
No, it's never been, for the most part, fans are incredibly respectful. Science fiction fans, I have never, in all honesty, I don't think I've ever met a fan at a sci-fi show that scared me, nor did I think that they were inappropriate in any way. So they're the best fans ever. Being a woman, I think because I've played such strong women, I think
they're frightened of you.
Yeah, they really are.
You don't play damsels in distress, so they don't fuck with you.
I've never had to worry about being, hit on inappropriately or sort of, I've never had any of that attention that I walked away from when like, oh, that made me uncomfortable. Like, I think that you know, the more that this sort of like Me Too movement has like caught on, there have been moments where I went, oh, I guess that was a little inappropriate back, you know, but I don't think at the time, I think we were so conditioned in this town to just like, you know, be okay with everything. It never occurred to me at the time. But for the most part, I think it's because I played such like capable, strong women. Everyone just associated me with that. And so I never really had to worry about unwanted attention, you know, from fans too. I think they think I'm going to punch them.
And okay.
Which did not help matters when I did the Spartan Race either, because they were like, oh, all right.
So listen, we're definitely going to get to Spartan Race shortly.
Yeah.
If people are curious as to why.
People they're like, why the hell is she on the show?
Right. So, you know, like when you're on these shows that, like, I feel like fantastical shows or sci-fi shows have a different like timeline, right? Like a different lifeline.
Yeah.
Do you stick with that genre because you like it, because you know you can get work there, because you know what I'm saying? Like, rather than say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a typical, you know, bad comedy or drama or something.
Yeah, no, it's, you know, I was very sort of like, in the beginning of my career, you don't have the option to choose where you want to go. You go where the work is.
You take the gig is, right?
Of course, 100%. And I have friends that didn't take gigs because they thought it was like beneath them or not what they wanted to do. And those people are not working anymore. So I think when you first start out, you take what you can get. You take everything that you can get, unless it compromises your moral value in any way, right? And so, but as soon as I had the ability to sort of like navigate the waters a bit and do things that I wanted to do, I leaned heavy into science fiction because those are the movies that I watched with my dad growing up. You know, my dad showed me Alien and Forbidden Planet and Predator and The Abyss and all of these movies growing up because it's what he enjoyed. So I think that there was a part of me being a daddy's girl that was like, oh my God, my dad would love to watch this. That just sort of like leaned into that stuff really hard. And now it's just what I'm known for. And so I enjoy it. I enjoy being physical because I was an athlete to begin with. So for me, it was easier to sort of tackle this industry like an athlete, like look at it like a training regimen and like go at it sort of like I would go after, you know, a swim race or a big event coming up and the training for that. So I've always sort of been really physical anyway. And it's easier for me to do the physical roles because it comes naturally for me.
What did you play?
I was a swimmer and a soccer player.
Got it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to certain scenes, are there scenes where you're like, where they want to like bring in the double and you're like, I want to do this one?
I just had this on a big show that I'm doing and they wanted to bring in my double for a fall. And it was the craziest thing because I'd been doing the fall all day. But the camera was never on me really, like not focused on me. It was sort of a big broad. Right. Yeah. And once they went in to go tighter on me, they were like, oh, let's bring in the double. You know, we're going to put a tiny little sparkler of a spark on my knee as if I'm getting shot. Right. And so the only thing that changed was this teeny tiny little spark on my knee, not even close to my face. And they wanted to bring in the double. And I was so upset. I was like, well, I've been doing this fall all day and you guys didn't seem concerned at all. And now You're concerned because you've got like a sparkler on my knee. Like, this is crazy. Like 12-year-olds play with bigger fireworks on, you know, 4th of July. This is nuts. And so I fought to do it twice. And they actually sent a producer down from upstairs, which is a big deal.
Big deal.
To make sure he wanted a verbal confirmation that I was okay to do this stunt, that nobody pushed me or coerced me to do this stunt. And I'm like, I've made a career out of this. Like, I don't understand. Like I've had worse falls, like off my motorcycle. Like, I don't understand. So, so it does happen. And the older I get, the more I actually do let the stunt doubles do everything. When I was on Battlestar, I did everything myself. I did everything myself on Longmire. that wasn't like a big fall off of a horse or like a car hit or anything like really massive that requires specific training. If it was just a fall or, you know, like a gunshot or things like that, I've always done those things myself. I've always done all my fights myself. So it's sort of insulting when they bring someone in, but at the same time, you know, I'm getting older. It's not as easy to bounce back. I've had multiple concussions at work, and I think at this point my doctors would be like, please, I mean, they've specifically said, please, no more concussions. This is like, would be number 8. Like, you need to stop hitting your head.
Do they have the blue tent now at on sets?
The blue tent. I don't know what the blue tent is.
So in football now, it's their new protocol that you got to go to the blue tent. It's protocol. What do you call it? Concussion protocol.
Yeah, no, it's pretty standard. Like now, I think if you hit your head at all on set, they pull you off and they make sure you're okay. And last time I got a concussion at work, I was like projectile vomiting and like,
awesome.
You know, I didn't know what a compression concussion was. It's like a football injury.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've done some cartoon stuff, you've done some video game stuff, and not, you know, actresses don't necessarily do both. Some people get the voiceover work and they rock it and make a great living for years. Some people are actresses, but not necessarily both. Can you talk about sort of how that's worked for you?
Yeah, I think it comes back to what I said originally, which was that I took everything when I first started. I didn't think of this acting career as like one specific thing. I sort of went, all of this is artistic and all of this is creating characters. And so I didn't, if somebody came to me and said, do you want to do the voice for a video game? Do you want to do mocap? Do you want to go do the voice of Robot Chicken?
Now, hang on a second. You can't throw out terms like mocap. It's motion capture.
Motion capture.
Come on now. So, we're not on the biz, bro. Come on.
Sorry. So motion capture, when they put all those little dots on you and they sort of use your facial expressions and your body movements to play a character, like Gollum in Lord of the Rings is motion capture.
Right.
So like an actor actually played him and everything. So I did that. Like, you know, I've played a character on Clone Wars, which is Star Wars, for 10 years because it was the closest I was ever going to get to Star Wars. And I play the voice of a character. So I've always sort of looked at it all as this can only help you grow as a performer. And so I've never really shied away from any of it.
Why don't you just call J.J. Abrams and be like, bro, throw me a bone, dude.
I know. I have sat across from JJ at dinner, and it is the hardest thing to not go, excuse me, sir.
Perhaps you've seen my work on Robot Chicken.
Perhaps you've seen some of my work over the last 25 years. Any of it?
What can I ask what the occasion was?
Just we have a lot of friends in common. So just like random stuff where you see someone out, things like that.
So I know you're not someone who gets up and goes to work every day to win awards, but you did win an award in 2005, right?
I think so. Was that a Saturn award?
You clearly are excited about it. I'm just, listen, clearly I don't know your work. Clearly I have not memorized your career. I'm looking at notes. Best actress. Wait a minute. It looks like you were nominated for Best Actress and Best Supporting Actress for Battlestar. Anyway, you won one year, damn it.
I did win a year. And I think it was the same year we actually won a Peabody as well, which was pretty serious.
Right.
The Peabody Awards, if for people that don't know, I didn't know, it's for like excellence in reporting and like, like the Peabodys are a very prestigious award. News reporting and covering the news. And it's always been very serious. And Battlestar Galactica won the same year that South Park did, and everybody there at the Peabodys was like, "What the hell just happened?" It was pretty funny. So I've got.
But you don't remember accepting the award for best. It looks like you won best supporting.
No, for Saturn. No, because I never actually got to go. So this year I actually presented at Saturn Awards, and it's the first time I've actually been able to go because Battlestar always shot for 10 months out of the year, so we were never free.
How many episodes did you do a year?
22, 24. So it was a lot. We did like 78 episodes in 4 years.
Wait a minute. How could it take 10 months?
Because it takes a long time. Takes a long time.
That seems extraordinarily long. Am I incorrect?
Yeah, no, it's actually
a 10-month season seems long.
No, it's about 9.5 to 11 months for a whole series order of 22.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a long process.
Okay.
And then for 10 episodes or 13 episodes, it's 3 months to 6 months, depending on how many. Some shows shoot an episode in 7 days. Some shows shoot an episode in 8 days. So it just depends on where you land. Some new shows shoot in 20 days. So
right.
it's because they're getting bigger budget, right? So some of the bigger budget stuff is longer.
Right. Can you talk about how you ended up on Robot Chicken?
I think that I played myself when Battlestar came out. I played Starbuck. I say that Comedy Central, they're so notoriously, or Adult Swim is so notoriously cheap that
Comedy Central also notoriously cheap, by the way.
So they pay you for one character and they have you do more if you finish early. And so I ended up I think voicing like 4 characters that day, and that's sort of how Bitch Puddin' came along.
I know, but can you explain to people who Bitch Puddin' is?
So Bitch Puddin' is like the dirty, rotten scoundrel version of Strawberry Shortcake. Like right. She's really, really terrible human being. And I've always played her like I thought she was 8 years old, right. Which I think made her in my mind even more inappropriate. And Seth Green was like, no, she was always like 20. And I was like, oh, I thought she was 8. So I think that sort of peppered the way that I played her for years.
Can you give us a sample or two of her?
No, she's so much harder. She's like me screaming into the thing.
Okay, all right.
It's really hard to do her voice.
All right.
That one's a hard one. A hard one.
You can Google. Everybody can Google. I'll drop a thing in the notes.
If you've got children around, don't Google it.
or do. My kids find everything, and so I mean, they're into. I think isn't the most popular show, like what's it called? What's that show that everybody's watching?
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, Big Mouth, all that stuff. All
of it's very inappropriate. It's all like, yeah. So Robot Chicken is sort of like right in that realm.
Right. Hey, let's talk about Spartan Race.
Yeah, let's.
How did you hear about it? How did you come to find it?
Oh, it's so funny. So it was an interesting sort of circle to get to there. So my producing partner in my YouTube channel, Robin had run a Spartan Race when we first met, and he absolutely loved it. And he was talking about how great it was and all these things. And he was like, you're really physically fit. You should do one. I was like, no. I don't do things like that. I was like, these muscles aren't real. They're just pretend muscles. These are what you call aesthetic muscles. These are not actual strong muscles. Right. So I was like, no. And then we started the YouTube channel. And so Robin had the idea for one of the episodes. He was like, you're always telling people to go out of their comfort zones, to try things that they're scared of, to push themselves harder and further than they have. And I just want to know sort of like when the last time you did that was. And I was like, oh no, I don't do that. I tell people to do that.
Right. Get out of your comfort zone. Yeah, I'm fine right here.
I'm good, but you guys should do this.
Right.
And so it was sort of one of those things where he was like, this would make a really great episode. We start the season of you training for it and you actually doing this. And, and I thought it was a great message for an episode. I had to let go of my desire to win. I had to realize that this was going to just be fun. And I had to train as hard as I could because I was scared I wasn't going to be able to finish. So I needed to train as hard as I possibly could and just have fun. What happened in the process was I started getting incredibly competitive, and realized that I really enjoyed all of the stuff, which it brought back all of my, swimming and my dryland training and my soccer training and things. And I got incredibly competitive. And And so that's sort of how the Spartan Race came about. And then my agency actually represents Spartan as well. So it was kind of very sort of symbiotic, whereas I said to him, I think I'm going to run a Spartan Race. And he was like, oh, cool. Like, I'll talk to them and see if you can use their logos and stuff and actually talk about them. And so that's sort of how that came up. And that's why you see my producing partner, Robin Gadsby, like running next to me in the Spartan Race, because we had like press clearance and all of this stuff so he could actually film it. So,
well, you know, if you look at your YouTube channel, you've got content going pretty far back. Were you thinking, like, there's some from 10 years ago, there's some from 6 years ago. So, you know, nowadays everyone's got a podcast, a YouTube channel. Was it something that you kind of thought you'd dabble in, but never kind of really went all in on back then?
Yeah, I didn't even know what it was back then. Honestly, like I was just doing these Q&As with a friend of mine and we were putting them up on YouTube. Like it wasn't even something that I had leaned into, I don't think at all.
Right.
And then when this idea came up, when people were reaching out to me on social media, I think like we've talked about, because I played all these strong characters, I think that people have found a lot of motivation from those women that I play. And then in turn, by proxy, through the things that I'm doing in my fitness journey as well. And so it made sense to sort of try and, you know, give them what they were asking for. But it's really hard to do that, in my opinion, on Instagram and Twitter. It wasn't long enough form for me. And so that's when Robin brought up the idea of doing the YouTube channel and actually making content that I wanted to make in longer form. And so the first season for us was just really trying to figure out what people wanted and sort of what episodes they liked, what they didn't like. We wanted a large sort of range of different things, which we still have. And we'll never get away from that, because I actually think it's what people liked about it, was how it was completely different all the time. And so, yeah, it was, I didn't think I would get addicted to the Spartan Race though. And now I'm signed up for another one in April.
So which one did you do?
I did Hawaii.
Okay. And you did the Hawaii Beast?
Oh, no. I'm not crazy. I did the sprint. I was going to do the Beast, and then I was like, no, he did the super.
Okay.
So the interesting thing about Robin is that people were like, I don't understand why there's no shots in front of you. Well, because he had just finished running a 9.5 mile race.
Right.
And then immediately jumped in and started running my race with me. So he was exhausted and trying to film me. So it was really interesting. I thought he did a phenomenal job. But I did the sprint, and I had intended on doing the super, but then I thought to myself, sort of like a month out, I was like, you know, I want to have fun. I don't want to kill myself. I don't know what to expect. I'm just going to go in and do something I know I can run 3.5 miles. That's good. Let's stick with that. And then I'll build myself up and do another race later if I want to. But what I didn't realize was that it was a trifecta weekend. And so this is just the athlete in me that goes, yeah, okay, you did really well and like you placed, but like everyone was tired because everyone else had run 3 races.
Of course.
So of course you did well.
Why give yourself any credit, Katee? Why? Yeah, just totally.
No credit whatsoever. So now I was like, all right, like I have to prove to myself that it wasn't a fluke. So I need to do another one before I turn 40. So I'm going to do one the weekend of my birthday so I can still compete in the same age group.
When's your birthday?
April 8th.
Mine is April 5th.
Is it? So
no way.
I'm running a race on your birthday.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So which one are you doing?
We're doing Snohomish.
Okay.
Yeah, so up in Washington.
I might be there. I was there last year because it's part of I don't know if you pay attention to the sport.
Yeah. But, now I'm obsessed with it now.
Okay. Well, then you should be watching a lot of obstacle racing media content.
I watch a lot of obstacle race stuff.
Okay. So it's the US series. It was there last year. It's going to be there this year. And yeah, I guess it's on my birthday. So I might see you up there.
Now here's the question. Was it muddy last year?
So remember, it is in Washington.
Yes.
The Northwest is known for rain. So it was extremely muddy. I actually did the trail race, and even that was like super soupy. So, is it a sprint or is it a super?
I'm doing the sprint.
Okay.
So, and I grew up in Oregon, so I'm
Oh,
ready
okay. All
for
right.
this. But I was supposed to run the race here in Los Angeles like 2 weeks ago, but I was working on the Monday and I didn't want to get hurt. I didn't want to take any chances of getting hurt. So I actually was like, I can't do this. I'll just cheer on my friends. It was so muddy. I've never seen anything like it. One of my friends got a hairline fracture in his ankle. Like,
Was it
I mean,
Castaic?
yes.
What about the stadium one? You could do the Angel Stadium one or Dodger Stadium, wherever they have it.
Mm,
She just
I don't know
made
if I want to do
she just did
stadium
the,
series.
well, here's what's fun about stadium. Okay. You go,
Uh-huh.
right? Parking's easy. You,
True.
you do the race. You don't get muddy. You go home. It's like a fun, fit day. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
don't,
but to me, the mud and being outside in nature is part of the fun of the Spartan race.
me too, but it's like if
Yes.
you've done 100, like some of us have,
Yeah.
it's a nice mix.
I have to tell you, I don't think I'll ever get to a point where I've done 100.
No, well, you don't have to be. Some of us are lunatics,
I
and
would love to. I'd love
it's
to just retire from acting and just like run Spartan races
well.
for
If
my
I
life.
showed you, we recently put out an article about who made the most money, you would look at that article and say, I cannot quit my day job because even the best of the best are not making that much.
No, they don't. I mean, that's the thing is that we were watching the $1 million race that people couldn't even finish. Like it was so difficult for like, it was really interesting to watch people sort of like drop out.
Oh, well, that's a whole nother thing. That's a 24-hour thing.
That's crazy.
How about, well, have you been paying attention to this stuff with Tough Mudder lately?
Yes. So Tough Mudder, a little bit in the sense that like Tough Mudder, we've been contemplating doing a Tough Mudder, but then it also scares me because Tough Mudder like electrocutes you and stuff.
You can skip that one though.
Okay, you can.
You can skip that one, but the bad news is they're having some rough news right now. You can read it later.
Oh no, what's happening?
It's well, I've spent the last like week writing about it, so I can send you a couple links, but
Really?
it's rough stuff, sadly. They might pull ahead, but Spartan isn't going anywhere. So
No, well, Spartan, and that's the thing, because if, there's a couple things that with Spartan, like having run a couple races now, or like, run one and been to one as a spectator and knowing where they want to go with it, there's a couple things that they're slowly changing in order to get to this sort of like sanctioned sport, like Olympic sport, like, where they're sort of like making the distances all the same. Like they need to figure out how to make this a little bit more of a spectator sport, like things that people can actually get involved with, and like figure out like, they've got the new easy, intermediate, and hard race sort of thing. So that like, hey, I did this race and it was easy, this one's hard, that's helpful. But there's a couple things that they need to change.
such as listen, I'm equally praiseworthy and critical of them all the time. So
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that some of the things, because they're women and men. So if you look at the tire flip for women is so easy.
right,
Tire flip for men is sometimes virtually impossible. So
right.
the weight discrepancy on that is a little crazy. Like I shouldn't be able to throw a tire across a room when, my boyfriend next to me, who's incredibly strong, can't even lift it when it's
Right.
muddy.
Or a sandbag or yeah.
100% things like that. The fact that like if a bucket spills over but the lid stays on and it's half empty, that needs to be pulled out. Like it shouldn't, like because the volunteers at Spartan Races, God bless them and thank you for being there. It's really hard to get good volunteers that are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like I shouldn't have to pour my own water at a water stop. Things like that, like I shouldn't have to walk up to two people talking at an obstacle and go, which direction, ladies?
And they're like, huh?
What? But God bless them, they're there, because in all honesty, the races wouldn't run without them. So we need them. So like you said, the things you love and hate, it's a double-edged sword.
But this is
the
great.
monkey bars are hard too. You've got like the monkey bars. For me, I can't even get my whole hand around them. They're so big. And so you've got to sort of like, I've got to move super fast on monkey bars because my hand can't grip it.
Well, but the other thing that you'll get from doing them multiple times is that technique is a huge part of it, right?
Yes.
So you can get better at things, faster at things.
Yes. Yes.
Things like, and you'll see different ones once you do move up to super, they like the different obstacles. And I think that's great too, that they sort of have that. And then you're like, oh, like that wasn't that hard at all. I just needed someone to show me how to do it. right?
Yes,
That kind of stuff.
exactly. Yeah, that was one of the things. Like, I'm glad that I went actually right before and I took a training course. So I actually took like the personal trainer's Spartan training course. So I actually like saw all the obstacles like 6 months
So like
before.
on Friday, or where was this?
Yeah. So I did the Friday in someplace here in Chino, 6 months before my race. I actually spent a whole day on the Friday and like did the personal trainer's course.
Right.
So I could learn like how to do obstacles.
Right. And see what happens for folks like you that like get the bug, then it's like, okay, where's a ninja gym or an obstacle gym? And they practice it. Some people build stuff in their backyard and it gets pretty
Yeah.
nuts.
We have
But
a spear in our backyard.
yeah, totally the move. As soon as you like miss that thing, you're like, fuck, I'm gonna go make one.
We had one here and I hit it every time and I missed it because my rope had a knot in it.
That happens too.
So
So there are also like some really reputable, good, like non-Spartan races. Some of them are big companies, some of them are small companies, but there's definitely like, if you don't want to just wait to do one a year.
yeah.
So there's plenty out there, especially in Southern California. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, there's a ton in California. It's hard. Like, so right now I'm training for the second season of my TV show and so
And
that
which show is this, by the way?
so it's called Another Life on Netflix.
Okay.
And so for Another Life, my character is incredibly lean and very sinewy and has like these long lean muscles, which are the opposite of the muscles I had when I ran the Spartan race.
Why am I looking at Paul Rudd and not you on my preview page?
For Another Life?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is he in that show? I think that's what I saw yesterday. Who's in that show?
I don't know. Just myself and Selma Blair is on the show.
Am I thinking? Listen, I was on the Netflix yesterday, and it said Another Life. Maybe think of another show. What am I thinking of?
I don't know. There's Paul Rudd has a show right now. I don't know what it's called.
Let's look at Paul Rudd's new show. Hang on, stand by. Paul Rudd.
He's the one where he plays both characters.
Paul Rudd's show is called Living with Yourself. So you can see how I was confused. They both have a word that is almost alive. So Living with Yourself is Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
You are Another Life. What is the premise of this program?
It's a sci-fi show that follows a group of astronauts into space that are responsible for trying to figure out what the origin of an artifact is and whether or not it's meant to destroy Earth or not.
And are you Nico Breckenridge?
I am.
What a great name.
Isn't that a great name? I know. But my character is incredibly lean. And so I'm trying to figure out this year how to get lean like Nico, but still have the muscles that I need and the shoulder strength to be able to do a Spartan race.
Have you tried binging and purging?
It would probably actually help, but I don't know if I would have the energy, the burnable calories for a Spartan race.
Now, do you see any movie about Mars? Are you like first in line?
What do you mean if I see them?
Like Ad Astra just came out. Were you like, I'm going to go see that?
No. So I'm very sort of specific about the movies that I actually go and see in the theaters and pay money to see in the theaters. And then the other ones I'll watch at home. It is on my list of things to watch, but I have not watched it yet.
So it was like $3 on Amazon. So I was like, I'll go for it. Right.
Yeah.
And I just started it, but I just didn't know. Do you hear that, by the way?
Yeah. That's your kids.
Yeah. And I'm
Are you excited for school to start?
No, I'm restraining myself from screaming because whatever they're doing, they know. Like if you can hear them,
it's a little loud.
It's a little much. Okay. So what was the last science fiction movie you really enjoyed?
Oh my God. The last science fiction movie I enjoyed. This is when I need Robin. What was the last science fiction movie that we enjoyed Yeah.
I'm going to put you on hold one moment.
We just watched Witcher, which is amazing.
One moment.
Yeah. Yeah, movie. Yeah. Did we enjoy that though? We love Elizabeth. He's got me on hold because he went to go yell at his kids.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last movie we went to either. We did go to Dine-In, but that was the murder mystery one with Chris Evans. Knives Out. That was good. We're so bad. We can't think of one. We loved Witcher though on Netflix. We're watching that right now. And we're His Dark Materials. We watched on, which is also sci-fi. Yeah. We watched on whatever that channel is, Amazon, Hulu, whatever. That was amazing.
Are either of those science fiction though? Well, wait, Witcher
they're
is
fantasy.
Witcher
they're both
is
fantasy.
Right. Yeah, and I'm never the first to watch. I do another show with my co-host Josh. He's watched them all. He said it was a lot of boobs. That's so far what he said to me.
It is a lot of boobs, but I think that if you can, it's actually a lot of gratuitous boobs. But if you can,
is there any other kind?
Not really. But if you can get through, like we said last night, I think we're on episode 5 now, and like at the end of like episode 4 or something, I like looked at Robin and was like, oh my God, it's getting really good now. Like it's getting really good.
All right, well, maybe I'll give it a shot then. Maybe I'll give it a shot. We go, we're slightly older than you, and my wife is asleep by 9:30 and I'm asleep by 10:30, which means we get like one episode in. Like I remember before the kids, like we could watch like 6 episodes of something.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Those days are gone.
Yeah.
So, maybe when the kids are out, we'll freaking stay up late, so we can't.
Yeah, well, we get to a point that like when I'm working or like when he's working, like we have so many things going right now where it's rare that we've got enough time to sit down and watch a ton of things. And I think it's just because it's the Christmas holiday. Do we actually have the time? Because we're both so busy, like getting ready for the show and then doing the second season of the YouTube channel and then, writing a couple movies that we sold. And so we're just sort of like constantly, we're working so hard right now.
Okay. Well, I'll check out this show, Another Life. Why not?
Give it a chance. We, it was a really, you can see, in my opinion, it's a fun ride. It has a lot of really great cliffhangers to it. I think that there's a lot, you can see the potential makings of a really good sci-fi show there. And Netflix gave us a second season, which is fantastic. So we'll have the opportunity to fix the things that we know are wrong, that we made mistakes at. So,
well, so there's not a lot that we watch together, my kids and I. First of all, they're just impatient, right? So we were actually like, we started watching The Flash together and like we both liked it, right? And I was like, oh, this is something we both enjoy. And then Jackson watched like 3 seasons without me. And I was like, dude, like I was going to watch it with you. So I lost interest in that. But I know that like, I think he finished it. I don't know. Cause I'm not, like I said, I don't like I can take them to see Star Wars on Christmas Day. And like, that's the one thing we might watch together all year. Otherwise they just watch like YouTube stuff.
Yeah, no, it's true. Kids watch so much YouTube.
I think sci-fi and fantasy has always been, on television, right? As long as like, no matter what, some of it on big network, some of it on USA or Sci-Fi or whatever, but we're definitely having a moment here, right?
Yeah.
We're definitely having a moment in superhero land. Yeah. And it's one of those things that it's kind of like, I think people compare it to like the Patriots. Like every time we think it's over, we're like, oh, they just made 7 more movies.
Yeah.
So what's kind of your take on that?
I don't know. It's one of the most beautiful times in film and television for actors, in the sense that there is no shortage of work. The problem is it's getting seen. There's so much work and there's so much content. It's not a hard thing to get a job as an actor. It's a hard thing for people to see the work that you just did, because there's so much getting put out constantly. So, I'm a big fan of what's happening right now in cinema and in television, and the fact that like there is so much content, because like I said, it's really great for work. So I would, I'm a big fan of those movies. They're the movies that I love to see. I love action movies. I would love to see some new action stuff come out. I think that the superhero thing is we've leaned into it so hard. And I think there is room for the $10 million movie that we saw in the 90s, those, those Bruce Willis movies, that there is a place for those movies to be made again. And I'd like to see them, instead of, we've got massive tentpole movies that are $100 million to make, or $2 million indies, or comedies that are right there. We don't really have anything in the middle anymore. And so I would like to see a little bit more of that and a little less superhero.
Right. We're probably due for that late 80s, early 90s, like renaissance that we had, that I certainly remember, right? Like
Yeah.
The year that Reservoir Dogs came out on videotape, whatever summer that was, like we watched that like every single day. And that was like an amazing time, right? Are you, where do you stand on Quentin? Are you a Quentin fan or not a Quentin fan?
I love Quentin. He's on my list of people I'd like to work with. I love a lot of Quentin's early work. Did
you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I did.
And what was your thought on that?
I enjoyed it. To me, it felt about 30 minutes too long.
Again, what doesn't, right?
Yeah. So it felt a little, I was a little confused when I walked away.
Well, but I think with him, he's one of those guys that like a rewatch or a third rewatch can change everything.
I agree.
I mean, I think, I saw Jackie Brown in the theater and I didn't walk out loving it, but now that's a movie that like, if it's on, I will absolutely like sit and watch.
No, I agree with you. I think that the second time through is much better than the first, because I think a lot of times with Quentin, we spend so much time waiting to see what he's going to do, and waiting to see how he's broken the mold, and waiting to see all the risks that he took and the shots that he does and all these like brilliant things that he does that he's known for, that I think sometimes you walk out and you're like, wait, did I even watch the movie? Right. He's so visually, his work is so visually stunning that I think sometimes you get lost in it, and then a second viewing is necessary.
All right. So far we've got JJ and Quentin, right? on the short list. Directors Katee wants to work with.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else?
There's a ton. I mean, someone asked me this question at New Year's dinner, and the list of people that I would like to work with is so incredibly long that it's really hard to put anybody on a list, because there's so many brilliant filmmakers, filmmakers that, I always wanted to work with Eastwood. That would have been amazing. And then there's small new directors that are just coming up that are just absolutely amazing as well. So there's so many different people that I would love to work with.
Well, we joked a bit about the whole age thing, but do you think about I don't know, like at one point they stop answering the calls and I better crank them out as I can, or do you just take it like a day at a time? Or I hope not, this is not like an insulting question or anything.
It's not. I think that so many people sometimes, I think that as society sort of like really wants to predict what your life is going to look like. And I think if we get caught up in a number and what someone else's career looked like, that you're gonna forget to live in the moment and realize the opportunities that are in front of you. I've got more opportunity now as a almost 40-year-old woman that I had when I was 25. And I think it's just because I've spent the last, almost 25 years really cultivating relationships and working hard as an actor to be known as an actor first. And so I actually am, I'm the least concerned about my career now than I think I ever was. And
that's
I think
awesome.
I think my age is helping me personally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Where can you want to tell folks about Instagram or YouTube, or where they can see more about you or find out about you, or what things you want them to watch?
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram is the real Katee Sackoff,
as opposed to the fake Katee Sackoff.
As opposed to the person who got my name first.
Damn it.
So the real Katee Sackoff. Twitter is just Katee Sackoff, but the YouTube channel is also Katee Sackoff. And it's something that we're really proud of, because I think it's I think that's one of the things that I've learned in this business is just to really create things that make you excited and bring joy to your life. And I'm really enjoying going out and recording episodes and filming episodes about learning new things in life. It's been really fun,
All right. And then we'll see you at the Seattle Snohomish.
Yes. Snohomish. Yes. My last race in that age group. So it's all a plan to prove that Hawaii wasn't a fluke.
All right. Let me take you off record. Hang on.